Well, I think we're beginning to see the results of the President's stimulus package, the Recovery Act. A lot of dollars are flowing out to communities and states for road construction, and as we start seeing the summertime approach, you're going to see a lot of those dollars at work, people engaged in those improvements to roads, bridges, construction for colleges and universities, dormitories, laboratories, and classrooms. So the money is starting to flow out, and communities are starting to use those, and when they hire people, those people who are hired in construction jobs, engineering, they shop in malls, eat in restaurants, and go to shopping malls as well. So you're going to start seeing that economic activity picking up, and we're already seeing kind of signs of recovery. We're already seeing some bright news. Home sales are starting to pick up, and a whole bunch of different indicators are turning positive. So while we're still going to have a period of some bad news, but we're seeing things beginning to bottom out and not continue to go down. And so we're seeing good signs of good glimmers of hope. Actually, the legislation passed by the Congress, requested by the President, does have some restrictions on who companies may hire, really to favor people in America and to make sure that the products that are used in the recovery, whether it's on roads, bridges, college, university, dormitory, construction projects that are distributed to the states, that they really have to use as much American products as possible. And finally, the President recently announced a proposal to take away some of the tax advantages that companies have for sending jobs overseas. So he really is trying to make sure that there's no incentive for companies to offshore and outsource. Actually, we're not choosing groups. We're not using groups. We're not hiring groups to do the work of the census. All hiring for the staff to knock on doors will be done by the Census Department, and everyone must undergo a background check, an FBI background check. We are using a whole host of organizations, whether church groups, social service groups, nonprofit groups, community groups, to get the word out about the need to participate in the census. And they're passing out brochures printed by the federal government. We're not giving any group money. If a group wants to have a town hall meeting to invite members of the community or the neighborhood to come and learn about the census, then we will perhaps pay for the renting of the meeting hall, but no money will move from the federal government to any group, whether Acorn or anybody else, as part of the outreach efforts for the census. But the fundamental challenge that we have is to get every American counted, every person living in America counted, whether they're a citizen, non-citizen, whether they're registered or non-registered voter, whether they're a member of the military living someplace else or a college student. We've got to make sure that people are counted once, only once, and where they live. And that's a requirement of the U.S. Constitution that goes back to 1790 and spelled out in our Constitution and started by President George Washington. We need to upgrade our infrastructure. Our roads, bridges, sewer, and water systems, they're so old. A lot of it was built in the 1950s, and they have not been upgraded or repaired. We know that we're going to have to fix them sooner or later. And so that's why President Obama has really focused on stimulating the economy, getting people back to work by providing federal dollars for the states and communities and the cities to do these projects that we know have to be done sooner or later. The longer we wait, the more expensive it will be. But if we do it now, we're also able to put millions of people to work, badly needed family wage jobs. And again, when those construction workers, architects, engineers, painters, carpenters are involved in all this construction, they shop in malls, eat in restaurants, buy automobiles, and they support many other businesses. Well, I know that the President very much cares about making sure that American workers are on a level playing field with workers in other countries, and that American companies and American workers have to follow environmental health and safety rules and regulations, things that we think are proper and appropriate. But too many countries, not just NAFTA, but other trade agreements, the workers and the companies in those countries don't have to live up to the same standards as American companies and American workers do, which puts American workers and American companies at a competitive disadvantage. That's why the President is very keen on trying to reopen some of these agreements or incorporate these types of standards in future agreements.